Well, hello, everybody. Oh, baby, there you are. Welcome to the Geeknd Live. One more time, we are going to do Andor Analysts. We're going to talk about the finale, which I only actually just saw about like 45 minutes ago. It's been a funny old week. But before we get into all of that, just a little plug, a cheeky plug for the fact that there is a new episode of These Are the Actors You're Looking For, which is our Star Wars interview series, which most of you, the regulars, discovered this channel through. And this new episode, because I don't release too many, so it should be an event, is with none other than Frankos. He of so much fame, but in relation to Star Wars, Yoda, original puppeteer, and the voice of not just a puppet, but also CGI Yoda as well in the prequels. Wonderful human man, I have to say. And part one of our time together is live on the channel. Great engagement from those who've seen it. Very low views, but hey, it's YouTube. Part two will be coming out soon. Part one's the kind of like the historical chat, talking about the challenges of bringing the puppet to life, his relationship with Star Wars, because he doesn't do the voice, as he says. He's not a performing monkey. Also doesn't attend Comic Cons and fan conventions. You'll find out why if you watch it. Part two, a little bit more up to date. We talk about the CGI over the puppet, and also he gives me his views on Grogu. Right. Anyway, enough of that. We're going to talk about the Andor finale. I hope you're all doing great. By the way, the Frank Oz interview is linked to in the video description, so please do check it out. And I know you're only trying to help. Don't click on it, hit the like button, and click off again, because it doesn't help. I know you're trying to help. I know you think you're doing a good thing, but it actually damages the video's chances with the algorithm. So watching as much of it as possible is what really helps, as well as hitting the like button. So YouTube wants to know that you're watching at least 70% of this video. That tells YouTube it's good, it's not clickbait, etc. So have it playing in the background if you don't actually want to watch it, but you should actually want to watch it. All right, let's do some hellos to those watching live. Hello if you're watching on the replay, aka in the future. Leave me a comment, I will reply eventually. But let's do some live hellos, then we'll get into my thoughts on the finale, and I want your thoughts as well. We've got Clay's General Kenobi, but that did come off the back of hello there from Power Droid Girl. Also, another hello there from Gaz Nottingham. Hope you're doing well, everybody. Peter's here. He was early. Also, Chris from Explaining Computers is here as well. And time does fly. Can you believe it? 12 weeks ago, we started this. It's over and done with, right? There's not. They've just started shooting season 2, but we got a little bit of time to wait for that. But absolutely, time has flown by. Jane Flakes as well. Hope you're doing well, Jane. I've ordered your book, by the way, and I have been informed reliably by my mum. It's arrived at her house in the UK. So, I'll be leaving a review soon. I hope you're doing good. Matthew Stokes is here as well. One more time, everybody. Also, Caleb's here as well. Hello to you. And just so you all know that Chris from Explaining Computers did love the Frank Oz interview. Part 1, part 2 to come. So check it out, people. Also, Simon D, great. You're through Andor. I'd love to know how you're thinking about it, what you're thinking about it. This will be the last Andor stream for a while. So maybe drop me an email, Simon, when you're there. You're on episode 5 so far, so it's probably best you bow out, as you say. Glad you enjoyed part 1 of the Frank Oz interview. Hey, I think anybody would have excellent chemistry with Frank, to be honest. He's just a really nice guy, and I was lucky enough to have actually I've never met him. I was lucky enough to have interviewed him before for the radio. And actually, it was a proper radio interview, so we couldn't see each other. There was no video feed or anything. Old school radio interview. And yeah, this was the first time we actually kind of had some sort of visual contact, if you like. I've never actually met him in purpose. But of course, having that established relationship helped. And he doesn't do too many interviews. So he did, I believe, genuinely remember me. And I've been emailing him for a while to try and set this up for the channel, because the previous interview was not for the channel. And it took a little while, but we got there, people. And Jane Flakes also on Frank Oz. It was lovely to hear Frank Oz speak. I listened while I was in the bath. Hey, Jane, happy to be your bath time soundtrack. Yeah, the rumors are rife. I've also heard this as well, Matthew Stokes. Frank Oz, I heard his brother is a wizard. Right. Powdroy Girl, did you only discover the channel last year? Powdroy Girl says, I discovered the channel last year during a 3.5-month hospital stay. YouTube was unblocked and I almost completed YouTube. You can never complete YouTube. Well, I thought you'd been with us for a lot longer than that, Leona. David McKay's here as well. Hope you're doing well. Alexandra Starr's here. I know you weren't particularly loving Andor at the beginning, so it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts. Now we're at the end. We've made it this far, everybody. Guys, you've not watched it yet. Shame on you. Shame on you. Also, apologies in advance to my friends from the USA, because where is it? Here it is. Tomorrow, baby. Where is it? It's coming home. Oh, yeah. Yeah, sorry. No more football chat now. Jason in Melbourne, you've joined us live. 2 weeks on the trot now, mate. Glad you enjoyed the Frank Oz interview. Part 2, maybe next week, more likely the week after. I've got to drop it to, it's actually edited. I've got to drop it to Patreon first. And then, I don't know, I think I need to work on part 1 on YouTube a bit more, try and promote it, because it needs a little bit of a push. But again, the engagement's great, the comments and the number of likes to views and all that kind of stuff. Hey, Frogger, you're here. Hope you can stay awake for us, or you just leaping in to leap straight out again. We haven't seen Glenn, to be honest, Frogger. Your man Glenn's not here. Alpha Monkey's here, though. Hope you're doing good. Hello, gang. Right, let's get into Andor. But first of all, okay, Alexander, stop watching after episode 7. Just bloody boring. Not Star Wars. Not my Star Wars, at least. That's fair. That's well, it's fair enough. It's fair enough, Alexander. But I don't know. When you feel like it, go back and finish it off. You're so close. You're so close to the end. Why not finish it off? All right, I'm going to give you some of my thoughts on the Andor finale, 7 minutes into this Andor, so-called Andor stream. Please leave yours in the comments as I ramble, and I'll come to them afterwards, live chat and the future comments. And hey, yeah, let's do this one more time, people. So for me, this was a finale that was solidly consistent, really, with what this series has done so well. And we've talked about this week after week: writing, acting, pacing, balancing of characters and storylines, the beats, the visuals, and I think above all, a clear vision as well. If you haven't been into Andor, like Alexandra actually, and maybe Peter, I don't think it's a finale that will necessarily change your opinion, to be honest. I don't think it's going to be a game changer for you. But if you have been into the series, then it's definitely, in my opinion, a very satisfying payoff that keeps you hanging on for season 2, which they have started shooting in the UK, but we're looking at 2014 at some point for a release. I really like the Ferric street fight brawl. It felt very gritty and feral, different to your Star Wars standard action. And Death Troopers always just bring an extra layer of tension, don't they? And the build-up of the tension to the outbreak of this fight, the funeral outbreak. The build-up, the tension with the pipes and the chanting and little B2 leading the procession, and of course culminating pre-brawl, culminating with Marva Andor's rollicking good speech. I thought that was just really well done, really well paced, and yeah, the way they built that tension and the payoff with the action was fantastic. And like this series in general, this episode didn't feel rushed or like it had too much packed in. That's often the way with season finales, right? It just feels rushed and it feels like too much has been packed into one episode. Not the case here. Probably could have done without the Canto bite mention. I'm joking, or am I? The only part of a film I actually like, The Last Jedi, that I didn't like, Canto bite. so I didn't really need that mention. But hey, we got it from Mon Mothma. Yeah, so I mean, looking forward generally in relation to Star Wars, I definitely want more of the more familiar Star Wars series and movies. There are other Star Wars out there, and I want that more classic feel back for sure. But on the other hand, and I've said this before, I hope there's room beyond Andor season 2 for more of this, for more character-driven, gritty stories to be told with a clear vision. Dare I say, less corporate-driven storytelling, even though there's absolutely a place for that, and I enjoy it. That said, even though it does so many things differently to so much of the Star Wars we already know and love, I still think it does feel like Star Wars. Alexandra's entitled to her opinion, but I do think this is Star Wars. I think it does feel right at home. As different as it is, it still fits in for me. So I'm not feeling very good at the moment, and I only just watched it, and I didn't really take it all in and get all the feels that I kind of expect I will when I watch it a little less groggy. So this could change, but at the moment I'm giving the finale an 8.5 out of 10. Could change, and I'm giving the series overall an 8.5 as well, and that could absolutely change. I could see that being nudged up to a 9 when I do a binge viewing, which I'm gonna do, and I'm already, in fact, looking forward to doing that. So hey, yeah, really, in some ways it doesn't feel real that we've got a Star Wars like this, I'm not giving it 10 out of 10, but at the same time, kind of find myself pinching myself. It just doesn't really feel, it does feel right, but just never really expected this. In some ways, I kind of thought Kenobi might have been gritty. I know we talked about this in the past, a lot more sort of quiet moments with Kenobi himself, a reflection, PTSD and what have you. We didn't really get that, but we certainly got a very character-driven story series, first season here. So anyway, very satisfied customer. Right. Let me catch up with the chat. Let me see what everybody's saying in the live chat. And I am almost where we were before. Right, I'm going to start here with Rob H. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Some of the greatest Star Wars we've ever gotten. Very much my Star Wars. You have Frogger, he's not here. The Geeky Hippie's not here. It's a shame, isn't it? And you were here for him, but he's not here for you. Peter, episode 1 to 11 should have been done in one episode and combined with episode 12. We would have had a nice, maybe even great film. Yeah, okay, Peter, I'm looking forward to your score of the finale, but it just sounds like you enjoyed the finale. I know you've been quite mixed on the season overall. Right, Matthew Stokes. Andor's been technically one of the best and also helped with some Star Wars world building, but I gotta be honest, I've not enjoyed it as much as most stuff. Yeah, I have enjoyed it as much as most stuff. And I absolutely do agree. Technically, in terms of writing, the way it looks, this is movie quality in terms of the way it looks. And that is, testament to the way it was shot in terms of using Pinewood, where the movies have been filmed, and also so many real locations and so little volume. But that's okay, man. I know you've still been positive towards it, Mr. Stokes. And we got Mando season 3 coming soon, baby, as well. So I know we'll all be there for that. And again, I'm looking forward to that. It'd be weird if Mando completely switched style and vibe and was more like Andor. I don't want that, but I do want more Andor style. Yeah. Well, hey, post-credit scene. I mean, I don't think that is fair to call that post-credit scene fan service, because it did tie in to, of course, what they were building in the prison factory. But that was cool, man. What a shot. And they didn't milk it either. It was, in and out pretty quick, wasn't it? But yeah, perhaps that's something they're saving for season 2. I'd be very surprised if we didn't get Tarkin, Krennic, or Vader, or a hologram with the Emperor, at least. One of those in Andor before it's all said and done. Right, Gaz Nottingham. My favorite supporting characters are Defo Barasto and Bix B&B. I want to hope double B. I want to hope they make it through season 2. Nah, and through till the end of the war. It can see them slipping into the Mandalorian timeline, possibly. Yeah, you never know. I can't see it. I think it's going to be much like Rogue One. There's going to be a lot of death in season 2. Oh, is it Thanksgiving? I'm sorry. That's very, very rude of me. Happy Thanksgiving to my friends in the States. But still, I apologize. Where is it? I apologize in advance for tomorrow. It's coming home. Right. Chad does say it's Thanksgiving here in the States. Probably was said already, but no, it wasn't. Unless I missed it. So Chad's with the family, but this show was 10 out of 10 for me. Is that like, that's not a rating for the family, right? That's for Andor. Do you prefer Andor to your family, Chad? Matthew Stokes, great score, though again, didn't feel very Star Wars. I agree with that, but the score complemented the show very well. It's not traditionally Star Wars, I suppose, but I think people said that about the Mandalorian score at first, and now it's pretty accepted, isn't it? Fight the Empire! Aye. Jane Flakes. The funeral music was so moving with the increasing tension and then the sudden silence. Oh my word, I love this. For me, it was perfect. I wish that I could write half as well. You can write, Jane. And I haven't had a chance to check it out yet because I had to avoid the Patreon Discord because I hadn't seen the episode, but I know you've written another blog. So if you guys are on Jane's blog, if you've seen it in the past, there is an update. Go and check it out. Chad Campbell again, who's ignoring his family. This show is the best Star Wars has been. Comparing it to Mandalorian is like comparing Goodfellas to Phantom Menace, not even in the same ballpark. I mean, they're just different, man. They're just different, aren't they? But yeah, the quality of this show is outstanding, you know, in every kind of way, as we talked before, the writing. The visuals, but it all comes down to the writers, I think, being given creative freedom, you know, and not having that freedom altered as the process goes on, I assume, and having a clear vision and meeting it. Peter, Andor is more the common people's Star Wars and not the usual superhero Star Wars. Yeah, saying that again, I'd be interested to know. I think Matthew Stokes said some of his non-Star Wars friends didn't enjoy Andor. I'd like to know how non-Star Wars fans get on with this series, to be honest. Powdery Girl says, I can't begin to say how much I love both for the finale and the series. There's too much to say. It was everything I hoped for. It was perfect. Yeah, I don't swear on the channel very often, guys, you know, but I'm going to put this up on the screen. I'm not going to read it out, though. I could do some of it, couldn't I? If I could do it all again, I'd wake up early and fight these bastards. That was me just realizing that, hey, the worst thing that can happen is I lose the $1 per stream I make. So there we go. I've lost $1, maybe. Caleb says the marching band was awesome. Was great, sorry. I loved getting dozens of new Star Wars instruments, the whole look of all those flutes tied together with gadgets. Alpha Monkey. I hope we get more grander stories like Andor. I had very low expectations for this series. I was blown away. And Andor was my least favorite character in Rogue One. Yeah, I remember a lot of people, you know, a lot of questioning as to why they're building a series on Andor, but I think it's clear now that there's a lot more to Andor than Andor. You know, even the Imperials have a human side to them. You know, you find yourself, I think Powdery Girl said something either here or on the Patreon Discord. You know, you do find yourself occasionally rooting for the Imperials. Yeah, but you know, those who weren't particularly excited about a series about Andor, I think generally have come away, you know, caring more for this character. You know, he doesn't say too much. He's quite cold, but he's an interesting lead character, and I think Diego Luna's pulled it off. Jason in Melbourne says, starting to feel like Rogue One. Hey, well, this is taking us right into Rogue One. So, yeah, I suppose that's how it should be, how it should go, how it should feel. Explaining Computers, I liked episode 12. Very solid and very Star Wars. Nice Seeds of the Rebellion stuff, although I found myself focusing a lot on the sheer, apparently physical size of the Ferrix set. Alexander Starr got more stock from nose than Jabba had from his mouth. Nice. Nice. Good for you, Alexander Starr. Drumstheword.com, my friend. I hope you're good. Don't see you here live very often, but it is very, very nice to see you here live. I was really hoping for a more gripping ending, but this is my favorite Star Wars TV series easily. So maybe not the finale you were hoping for, but I know overall you've been loving the series. I've seen your comments throughout. Yeah, I mean, I may not go above my 8.5 score for this finale. I've rated episodes at a 9 before. So as things stand, this is not my favorite episode of the season. But again, I think it was a consistent and solid season finale. If it was a series finale, I'd probably be more disappointed or disappointed, just disappointed. But knowing that we have a season 2, for me, it's fine. And that post-credit scene was cool, even though it didn't add anything to the story in terms of, teases for season 2 or what have you, or answering any unanswered questions. Well, it did answer an unanswered question, what they were building in that prison. That was cool. Right, moving through the comments. Team Krennic all the way for next season. Yeah, I think that's going to happen, isn't it? It's the easiest too, because Tarkin, I assume, is harder work because of the technology involved. Ian McDermott saying that he's up for anything, isn't he? It seems, and they may have shot something already when he was in for Kenobi. I doubt it, but they could have. Getting him into a small green screen cubicle in London, you don't even have to get him on set. You can just put him into a cubicle at any point with a green screen and do a hologram. Vader. Yeah, I feel like if they're going to hold back with anyone, it will be Vader. I don't think we can ever have too much Vader, but of course he does pop up in Rogue One. And as this leads into Rogue One and is a Rogue One prequel, the prequel to the prequel, do you want to potentially unravel any of Vader's pretty cool appearances, particularly the final scene in Rogue One? Yeah. Who else? Who else did we say possibly? I think that was it, right? I think Krennic's the most likely. Right. Chris from Explaining Computers. We are very lucky to have had 25 new live-action Star Wars episodes in 2022. Wow, yeah. Amazing times for a galaxy far, far away. Clay says, I love the series Star Wars for grown-ups done right. And also Jane Flakes is on Team Krennic as well, all the way, one of my most fave characters. And I forget the Australian actor's name, but he really enjoyed that role, didn't he? And he really enjoyed everything around that role. I remember him being a lot of fun at Celebration, I think, and also on the press tour in the interviews and things. You could just tell he just genuinely loved being in Star Wars, and his character worked. His character was cool, and he delivered. Good night to Alexander Starr. Don't forget to wipe those bogeys off your nosy, and hope you sleep well. And I'm probably going to do a check-in stream before the New Year's out, but this will be the last regular stream for a little while, possibly till Mando, I imagine. But like I say, probably will check in before Christmas, before the year's out. The Sarge is here. Happy Thanksgiving to you, my friend. And apologies in advance of tomorrow. Anyway, where else are we? If I've missed anything, because I've just had the live chat refresh and jump. So I can see some near Moss Coast discussion. Blackpool, that's Blackpool, isn't it? Frogger, not trying to kill your football. It's only football, no need to add soccer there. Vibe, Jamie, but do you really want to support a world championship in Qatar? I mean, I'm not a fan anyway, but this time around it seems really wrong. No, I don't support the tournament being in Qatar. Human rights records and their stance on homosexuality aside, the tournament shouldn't have been there in the first place. I'm not as big a football fan as I used to be, but I do believe you should have a footballing history and culture before you're given the greatest prize in the sport. I'm not saying they should never have it, but build your culture, build your history first before, buying the World Cup. The migrant workers situation, human rights situation, homosexuality situation is terrible, but the football is happening, and if it can be used in a way to highlight the wrongs. I mean, these things have been going on in Qatar and that part of the world well before, and would have absolutely continued like they are, but people wouldn't be talking about it if the World Cup wasn't there. So the World Cup, at least, even though it shouldn't be there, is highlighting, and people around the world are talking about, these things that aren't right in that country, in that part of the world. So, England won't win the World Cup, but if England did win the World Cup, or whoever wins the World Cup, and if they lift that trophy, which is images that are seen by billions of people around the world, and there is some sort of form of protest, again, keeping a discussion going, whether it's the T-shirt, the armband, whatever, then for me, that's a good thing. But I agree, it's a tarnished World Cup, and it's hard to be quite as excited as I normally would be for a World Cup. So I absolutely agree where you're coming from there, Frogger. But I think it can, now we're here, it can be used for good as much as possible. Hey, Daniel, hope you're doing good. Catching up. Wow, 2 times speed. That's not fast enough, man. You're probably still hearing all the useless stuff I'm saying. Right. Okay, Caleb's answering Powdroid Girl. I interrupted a conversation that was going on. Yeah, Powdroid Girl says Mon Mothma didn't have much to do in the finale, but she did a lot in those 2 scenes. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I've enjoyed the Mon Mothma. The domestic life of Mon Mothma's been a revelation in this series. I can see more love for the Neamos 80s new wave theme. Yeah, somebody did that cool video. Dave Milano sent it to me. I don't know if anybody else saw it. Ben Mendelsohn, that's the Australian actor's name. He played Krennic. I think he would be up for it, to be honest. I think the only thing that would get in the way of that is schedules, to be honest, if he's already signed up for something else. I thought Tarkin was okay in Rogue One. Leia at the end still is the uncanny valley 1 out of the 2 for me, to be honest. I thought Tarkin wasn't too bad. But I know it's pretty mixed in terms of the response to that. Thank you, Devin McKay. Yeah, Ben Mendelsohn. I can see Powder Girl as well. Also, Tarkin was very uncanny valley. Matthew Stokes, total runtime for Andor, minus intro recap and credits, 7 hours, 51 minutes, not far off for film's worth. Wow. Sarge says, I totally agree, Jamie. Well said. I don't know what I said, man, but I'm glad it was done well, whatever it was. I'd love to get an interview with Ben Mendelsohn, fellow Aussie of yours, Jason. And actually, he did an interview with Steel Wars. So, hey, you never know. He's up for just chatting, but maybe exclusively to Australian Star Wars fans, because Steel is Australian. I don't know. Drums the word. Wise words on football. Yeah, football. Jamie, spot on. The spotlight is on this country, and I hope it will do good. Yeah, as long as the conversation continues when the spotlight comes off, that's important. If we're only talking about it for the 3 weeks or whatever the tournament's on for, it's not enough, is it? Yeah, I'd love to chat with Mendelsohn. And having Frank Oz on the channel is a bit of a game changer, because the interview series started off, the idea, and this is still part of it when I can do them, is really to focus on the more, the unsung heroes of Star Wars, but to throw in those bigger names helps you get bigger names. So Anthony Daniels, Billy D. Williams, Frank Oz, in the Star Wars universe, and particularly Frank Oz, just generally in the movie industry, they just help. When people see those names on a list and you're pitching to them, it just helps. So, yeah, you never know, man. You never know. All right, let's get ratings in, guys. I can see one here from Gaz Nottingham. Let's get your ratings for the finale, and if you want to as well, for the season overall. Gaz Nottingham, 9.9 out of 10. I hold back the 1% as nothing gets 100%, but this show is fantastic and beyond any expectations I had. The cast, writing, score, and visuals were spot on. Roll on season 2. Very good, guys, and roll on the scores, please, people. Yes, Peter, you as well, my friend. Frogger says having Frank Oz on the channel is huge, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it's Yoda, man. There's so much more than Star Wars you could talk to Frank Oz about, of course, but this is a Star Wars interview series. But there's only a handful of names maybe bigger, right, in Star Wars, would you say, in terms of the actors, performers. We have got a 10 out of 10 from Dave McKay. Pretty good, pretty good. And we have an 8.5 for the final episode. And the series as a whole from Chris of Explaining Computers. We've got a 10 out of 10 for the finale from Clays and a 9 out of 10 for this series. All right, this is big, guys. This is big. These have all been big scores, but this is big in its context. A 7 for the finale from Peter. Now, that might be the highest. Correct me if I'm wrong, Peter. I think it is the highest individual score you've given. And we have discussed before, Peter, I come from the Dutch school of rating thought, where 5 is average and anything above 5 is above average. Good, right? Yeah. So this is pretty big. This is pretty big from Peter, a 7. Wow. Ben actually went to Steele's place for the interview. He went around to his house for the chat. Wow. All right. He's game, yeah? Although, saying that, he seems to be in the UK a lot. A lot of the stuff he shoots seems to be in the UK. So, But I'm not in the UK right now. Is he in Mexico City? Let me know if he is. Come around my Airbnb. Alpha Monkey, 10 out of 10 for the final episode, 8.5 for the entire series. The Sarge. Attention, everybody. 10 out of 10 from the Sarge. And I knew this already because I've spoken to Jane. But for me, the whole thing was epic, not a bad move. So it gets a full Imperial March of 12 out of 12 from Jane Flakes there. All right, Matthew Stokes, we've got the finale at a 7.7. I think that's one of your lowest scores for this series, Matthew. But then I don't have a great memory. For the season, at 8.1732-ish. Pretty solid. Andrej is here. Hope you're doing well, Andrej. 9.9 out of 10. Missing known alien species in the show. Yeah, I saw a lot of talk. There has been a lot of talk about that, and it's true. It's true. There is a alien minority in this series. And then when the 2 aliens we had in the kind of main scene together, I couldn't understand a thing they were saying, man. And they were speaking English. Frogger adds that Frank Oz is a frigging legend. How'd we go? I was expecting no less. 10 out of 10 for the finale and for the series from Power Droid Girl. Caleb says 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. The highlight for me was the Kubas, Imperial spy long snoot species, who kept getting a spotlight in the background. And I hope is okay after getting zapped and arrested. LOL. Good score there from Caleb as well. And thank you, Caleb, for getting involved in these streams. Peter gives the series a 6.1 as a whole. So again, it's above average, man. It's above average. Okay, you did give a 7 a little while back. All right, fair enough. Joint highest. Right, Jane Flakes is here. For the whole season, 11.5 out of 12, because I use a lot of tissues wiping away the snotty tears of grief. Oh, hell, it gets a full 12. Full 12. We've been upgraded already. I'll supply my own tissues. Drumstheword.com. The story, acting, details, and emotion was big for this series. It teased us major Star Wars fans with so many Easter eggs. Nothing to ever get in the way for non-Star Wars followers, though. 8 out of 10. Yeah, again, I'm interested to know how non-Star Wars followers, fans are liking this series, reacting to this series. I still feel like The Mandalorian, Mandalorian is so different to this. Chad made a very good comparison earlier. Goodfellas to The Phantom Menace. And I love The Mandalorian. And I've always thought The Mandalorian is a great, fun entry point to Star Wars for somebody that hasn't seen Star Wars. Sure, you're going to miss out on some details, but generally you can follow the story. I don't know so much about this. I'm interested to know. Gaz Nottingham, I see a lot of comparison with Andor to other shows. Mandor, Boba, and Kenobi were fantastic, but it's important that we get different style shows. If they were all like Andor, it'd get bland. Yeah, I do not want Star Wars to be all like Andor, but I would like beyond Andor for the Andor vibe to continue elsewhere, the style of storytelling. But no, of course, Star Wars will be a healthier place if we can get different styled shows, and I've said this before about how old Star Wars is and the different generations it has appealed to over the generations, over the years. It's impossible really to make something that everybody will love, but as long as there's something that is your Star Wars, then we're in a healthy place, right? Padroy Girl says the aliens were in the lower levels of Coruscant. Canonically, I can never say that. Keeping out of the way of the xenophobic Imperials. Makes sense. Makes sense. Oh, Frogger can't raise it yet. Still have to watch it. Don't mind the spoilers, though. I thought you'd started the series, Frogger. Have you not started the series, or you just mean the finale, right? Alpha Monkey, all these live action shows are great in their own ways. Of course, some are not as good as others, but nonetheless enjoyable. James Flakes, Mando is fun. While this is a tragedy, there is room in the galaxy for both. Andor being the tragedy, but not tragedy in a bad way. Well, tragedies are bad, but she doesn't mean that it's a tragic show and like it's a bad. You know what I mean, right? We got a thumbs up from Clays. Right, everybody. I think I've caught up with the comments in the chat. Copy and paste if I missed anything. If you've got anything desperate to get off your chest, stick it in now. And if not, then thanks. Thanks for joining me. Caleb says, true that lower levels of Coruscant scene was almost all aliens. Neomos had about half aliens too. That's good detail. That's a good detail. And this very much, the Andor story is very much a tragedy. Because yes, big spoiler there from Peter. He does die. And Frogger confirms that he hasn't seen episode 12 yet. As for the rest, I'd rate 9 out of 10. Pretty high. I'm sorry Glenn wasn't here this week for you, Frogger. You need to get to bed soon, my friend. Right, everybody. This will be the last weekly stream for a little while. We'll take a little break. I'll probably, like I said before, check in before the year's out. So maybe just before Christmas or just before the end of December. I can see a Bad Batch question from Jane. I'm not going to commit to Bad Batch every week at the moment. I'm not going to commit to Bad Batch every week because I only have limited YouTube time and kind of like it's basically one working day, if you like, and the stream takes up the majority of that working day. And the thing with editing is you kind of need to really get into an edit. You can't just sort of dip in for an hour and expect to get anywhere with it. So we'll do something for Bad Batch, but maybe it's sort of once every 2 episodes or 3 episodes because I do really want to get things I've already filmed out, like other interviews and Lightspeed Tonight. I really want to get those out, but I have to be so careful with my time now because for too long I made sacrifices with other things in life. So I don't know. I'm not going to commit just yet, but we'll definitely do something for Bad Batch. And Mando will be each week for Mando for sure. Which rumor has it is February, right? So there could be some overlap with Bad Batch and Mando, in which case we'll cover both at the same time. But anyway, more on that soon, I suppose. But thank you, everybody. We've got a score. Episode 12 gets a 9 from the Jason in Melbourne family in Melbourne. Not ready to give the series a score until episode 24. That's fine, man. You will hold back on that season score. Jedi Tales. Yeah, we do need to do that. We will do that, Peter. I know you're desperate to talk about anything that's not Andor. Explaining Computer says, Chris says, thanks for bringing us together every Thursday throughout Andor. No, thank you for joining. We don't get huge numbers with the streams, but everybody kind of knows each other. It's a good community feel. So thank you for being part of that. And Gaz Nottingham says, don't forget to smash the like button on your way out. Thank you for doing these review streams, Jamie. That's Gaz said that. I'm not thanking myself. Love the gang. Catch you all soon. Yeah, and that's another thing I got to do. Finish Rebels. I need to restart Rebels partway through season 2. But no, thank you to you guys as well. Drums the word. Don't go away too long, Jamie. Happy Christmas. Yeah, happy holidays to you as well. I really love the Frank Oz interview. Thank you. And there will be a part 2 either next week or the week after. Oh, Ben went to Steele's place in Melbourne. Okay, well, I'm not there either. It's Mexico City or London, probably. Frogger says, trying to tune in more often. Always enjoyed to see your face and interact with fellow geeks in the chat. Yeah, shame about Glenn though, right? Or maybe you enjoyed this week without Glenn, Frogger. He'll probably be watching in the future, so careful what you say. The button is smashed. Thank you, Jane. Smash that like button, everybody. Thank you, Mr. Matthew Stokes. And yes, the hashtag is there. Jamie, finish watching Rebels. I'll do it. No, I haven't, Frogger. I haven't finished it yet. But I started it and just so much happened in terms of things to watch Better Call Saul, there was Ozark, Andor. There was other stuff as well. I can't remember what now. Anyway, thank you, everybody. This has been, I think, the longest Andor stream we've done, hitting 40 minutes, but Chad just hasn't turned up with his stopwatch for so long, so it's his fault. But thank you. Thank you. And like I said, we'll definitely do a stream before 2022's out. We'll do something for Bad Batch. I'm not committing to week on week, but there will be week on week for Mando, which may well overlap with Bad Batch, in which case we'll incorporate. But thank you. And Daniel says Rebels will be important for Mando 3. Okay, there's a deadline then, although people are telling me I need to watch it before Kenobi, which I didn't quite manage. Although I think I saw enough that was important enough for Kenobi. But anyway, thank you, everybody. Climb. I'm just a tourist and a brick in the Ferrix wall. All right, everybody. There's a message for Glenn from Frogger. We're going to start waving now. We're going to start waving. I'm hitting end broadcast. So for the last time for a little while, don't forget to wave, everybody. I'm hitting end broadcast. Keep waving. Don't you dare stop waving. And if you haven't started, start now, please. End broadcast has been clicked. Keep waving.